It started.
Stared out the airplane window, rubbing his tired eyes. What he saw next made his blood run cold, a shark, soaring among the clouds. Not falling, flying. Thinking he was hallucinating, Derek blinked hard. But then, thud, a shark slammed down on the airplane wing. He bolted from his seat, yelling for help. A flight attendant and an off-duty cop came rushing over, but when he shouted, "There's a shark outside," they looked at him like he was nuts. Until the rest of the passengers started seeing it too. Then the nightmare began. Out of nowhere, a swarm of airborne sharks surrounded the plane. One crashed straight into the engine, the plane shook violently. Metal shrieked. Balance was lost. Inside the cockpit, chaos. Sharks pounded the windshield and battered the aircraft. The fuselage cracked open. Those not wearing seatbelts were yanked out into open air, screaming. A flight attendant tried to calm the chaos, but her voice was cut short. A flying shark tore through the aisle, taking her with it. The co-pilot was snatched from his seat and left hanging outside, clinging to a cable. The captain dove to rescue him, but cabin pressure surged, and both were blown out into the storm. Derek, gripping onto anything he could, fought his way into the cockpit. With some flying experience under his belt, he seized the controls. The radio crackled as he called for help. Meanwhile, his ex-wife Nicole, who had followed him on board, was trying to hold on. The cabin door ripped off. She clutched a handle for dear life as a shark lunged at her. A passenger threw her a pistol. She fired, but not before her arm was caught in the beast's jaws. Bleeding, terrified, but alive, Nicole survived. Back in the cockpit, Derek fought the winds in panic. With all his might, he pushed the plane into a controlled descent. Sparks flew. Metal groaned. But somehow, he landed it. Against every odd, Derek saved the remaining passengers. But this was only the beginning. Later, at the hospital, Derek got devastating news. A superstorm filled with sharks, what scientists now dubbed a skystorm, was hurtling toward New York. He immediately called his sister Karen, warning her to evacuate with her daughter Zoe. Nobody believed him. Until it was too late. Out on a tourist boat by the Statue of Liberty, Karen and Zoe were taking selfies when a shark leapt from the water, biting clean through a nearby tourist. Karen reacted fast, grabbing a stun baton and zapping the predator with a surge of electricity. The shark fried, but the trauma stuck. Meanwhile, TV broadcasts finally confirmed it. The skystorm had reached the coast. Sharks were literally raining from the sky. Derek rushed toward the city's baseball stadium, where Karen's husband and son were watching a game. No one listened when he shouted, "It's coming." Not until the first shark slammed through the scoreboard and the crowd went berserk. Panic spread. A child froze in fear. A former baseball legend grabbed a bat and knocked a shark 40 feet across the field. With Derek leading, survivors sprinted to the subway, but the tunnels weren't safe. Sharks burst through flooded corridors, chomping down anyone in their path. Derek fought one head-on, ramming a broken bat into its skull. Blood splattered the tiles, but they kept moving. On the surface, the city was pure chaos. Cars overturned. Sirens screamed. One man ignored warnings, ran back to grab a suitcase, only to be crushed by a falling piece of the Statue of Liberty. Derek and his group gathered any weapons they could, crowbars, knives, even pizza shop supplies. He called an old friend for help, and right on cue, another shark crashed through the ceiling. Together, they armed themselves and pushed forward, aiming for the Empire State Building. By then, the streets were rivers. The taxi stalled. Derek climbed onto the roof, used flying sharks like stepping stones, and leapt to safety. The news dropped another bombshell. 2 skystorms were merging. The skies darkened. Buildings shattered. Sharks fell like meteors, catching fire midair. On the Empire State Building rooftop, Derek's crew rigged together a makeshift launcher with coolant tank. They aimed, fired. Explosions lit up the sky, but the storm didn't stop. A shark flew at them. Sky, one of Derek's companions, unsheathed a katana and sliced it in half. Derek launched more coolant tanks. The storm finally began to weaken, but it wasn't over. Downstairs, they ran into Karen and her family. Joy was short-lived. A flaming shark tore down the hallway. They sprinted. Derek hacked through locked doors with a fire axe, fending off another shark at the stairwell. Then came the mayor, begging for help, pleading with Derek to save the city. He agreed. Back on the roof, Derek gave a speech to rally survivors. A shark came flying straight at him mid-sentence, and he revved up a chainsaw, splitting it in half like a true legend. The crowd erupted. But the storm still raged. To end it once and for all, Derek planned to overload a freezing device to break the vortex. The power cable snapped. Without hesitation, he used his own body as a conductor. Electricity surged. The device detonated. The skystorm fractured, weakened, and collapsed. Sharks rained down. Civilians grabbed weapons and fought back. The city turned into a final battlefield of man versus beast. Derek, still midair, sliced through another shark, grabbed a rope, and swung to safety, landing triumphantly. He had done it. He saved the city. Again. As the dust settled, Nicole, his ex, looked at him with tears in her eyes. Derek dropped to one knee, held out a ring, and proposed again. This time, she said yes. Because let's be real, who says no to the guy who chainsawed a flying shark in half?